Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of the robot build. So, last time, we built the body, we put everything together, and I was lucky enough to get some braces 3D printed here. So, what we're gonna do today is wire everything up and tell it what to do. So let's get started. Okay, so where we left off last time, we were about to wire everything up. So, your code may be a little bit different, unless you're using the code that I'm going to supply. Gonna need a bunch of wire. And you may notice my Bluetooth is just strapped up under the zip tie, because again, this isn't going to be my permanent version. I've got a custom board built. So first off, we're gonna need to take power from the Arduino black should be ground to the Bluetooth. Now this particular module, this is the Bluetooth Mate Gold from SparkFun. So this one's got voltage regulators built in. This can take 3.3 or 5 volts. So I'm just going to give it 5 volts. And then RX and TX, transmit and receive. You want to connect the TX of the Arduino to the RX of the Bluetooth Mate, and the RX of the Arduino to the TX of the Bluetooth Mate. This may be a little counterintuitive, as other things are like VCC to VCC, ground to ground. You're always connecting the same thing to the same thing. In this case, you're swapping them, because TX is transmit and RX is receive. So you want to transmit from the Arduino and receive on the Bluetooth module, and vice versa, transmit from and receive on. But if you're transmitting to the transmit pin, the signals are kind of not going to work. So, I've got the wrong wires. To hook up the motor driver now, we're going to take that ground wire I was talking about before. It's the wrong connection on this board for me. So I'm just going to shove one of these in here and connect it to that. And then I want to take 5 volts out from the H-bridge driver and put that on the VIN pin on your Arduino. Now we're going to hook up the actual motors. So you've got 2 enable pins. We're going to hook those up first. You got an enable on one side and an enable on the other side. Those are to enable the two motors. You have to bring those high for the motors to work. And the enable pins are going to be nine and 10. Oh, correction. The enables are for PWM. They're for controlling the speed of the motor. And then these other four, gonna plug those in like a header. Just plug them in one at a time, I guess. So we're going to take the first two and the second two. The first two are motor 1, and they're going to go to pin 2 and 3. The second two are motor 2, and they're going to go to 3 and 4. Look everything over, make sure you're not shorting anything. And then I guess try powering it on. The Arduino boots, the driver boots, and the Bluetooth is looking for a connection. So maybe quickly connect to your Bluetooth module just to see if it works. On here I'm going to go into Blue Term. And I'm going to connect to the RNBT. The light goes green, so I've connected. So let's go take a look at the code. What the? Okay, so if we open up our Arduino IDE and take a look at the code here, at the top we see the controls. For motor 1, if we press 1 it goes forward, 2 it'll stop, 3 it'll go backwards. Same with motor 2, 4 for forwards, 5 for stop, and 6 for backwards. Down here, you'll note that you'll have to press 1 and forward at the same time to go forward, or 3 and 6 for backwards. Now if we get into the actual code here. So first thing we're going to do is give all of our pins names. This just makes things easier. It's not necessary. You can always go through and use the pin number. You'll see here the speed pin. That's going to be those enable pins we were talking about earlier. You'll see more about that later on. Let's do the same thing for motor 2 there. And now for our setup. The first thing we're going to do is begin serial communications at 11:5200. Not 96, 11:52. The blue Smurf defaults to 11:5200. So we're going to use that. Next we're going to set all our pins to output there. Next we'll take a look at the loop. The loop is the part of your code that just repeats over and over again. You'll see here the loop in this case goes right to the end. Sometimes that won't be the case. You'll have functions and whatnot after the loop. So let's take a look here. The first thing we're going to do is look for incoming data from the serial line. And if there is incoming data, we're going to put it in a variable called inByte. Just here tossed in, we're going to set the motor speed to full speed. That's your enable pin again. Here we're going to take a look at our switch case, which takes a look at that inByte, and this is where controls come from. For a switch, the first case is of course an incoming 1. So if you type 1 in blue term, it'll do this. It'll set direction 1 to low, direction 2 to high on motor 1. Up here you'll see that we set the enable pin to the value located in motor speed. Next we just send out text on serial to tell what we're doing. Case 2 is to stop this motor. You'll see the first thing we do is set the speed pin to 0. So this high that I'm changing to a low didn't affect the code at all, although to be proper it should be low. Next it's the exact same thing as forward, but in reverse. Motor 2, again the exact same thing, just for motor 2. Again, you'll see here for stop, it's the first thing that it happens in that case is it sets the enable pin to 0, which doesn't allow the motors to move no matter what. See there, we're looking again at the reverse, and then here at the end, default. This is what happens if the key entered on blue term doesn't match any of these cases. So say you punched in a 0. What it's going to do is here, it's going to run through this for statement and turn everything off. So how it's going to do that is the first thing it's going to do is create a variable. Yeah, here we go. So the first thing is to create a variable and set it to pin 2 because we start with pin 2. And then if the variable is under 11, so until the variable is under 11, we're going to add 1 to that variable. So then the next step is that variable is going to be a digit between 2 and 11. So we're going to turn whatever pin's in that variable low or off and continue on to the next pin until we're at pin 11 or pin 10. Because it's less than, not less than or equal to. What happened to my clothes? Anyway, this has been part 2 of our Bluetooth controlled Arduino robot. I'm gonna put a copy of the code up on the blog, and if there's any questions, any comments, if you just want to troll me, whatever, leave it below in the comments, leave it on the blog. I recently added a buy me a coffee button at the bottom of the blog, so that's another way you can contribute if you feel like you've helped. If you feel like I've helped you out. If you don't feel like doing that, maybe click like, click subscribe, click dislike if you didn't like it, whatever. Anyway, not 100% sure what's gonna come up next. I've got a few ideas, maybe something with Raspberry Pi, maybe something with Arduino, that's all I got right now. I got a bunch of components, so I'll come up with something, we'll build it together. Again, click like, subscribe, dislike, whatever. See you guys later.